Welcome back, everyone. We've got quite the collection of conversations to dive into today.
Yeah, we've got everything from New Year's resolutions to nail salons and even like those unexpected hotel upgrades.
Exactly. It's like a weird little snapshot of everyday life.
It is. It really is. And that's kind of our mission here, right? Like to take these snippets of conversation and really pull out the interesting stuff.
The things that maybe the speakers themselves don't even realize they're revealing.
Yeah, about our culture or, just how we live our lives.
So are we ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay. The first conversation is all about New Year's resolutions.
Those oh so reliable promises we make to ourselves.
Right. And the first thing that struck me was this idea that the number one resolution is spending more time with family and friends.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
There's this kind of funny irony to it, don't you think?
Absolutely. Because we live in a society that's constantly telling us to do more, be more, achieve more.
And that doesn't exactly leave a lot of time for, just hanging out with the people we love.
It's like we're all on the go all the time.
And the reason given for this on-the-go lifestyle, it's all about working hard to provide goods and services.
Which is interesting when you think about it.
It is. Because they actually make a distinction between goods and services in the conversation.
Right. Goods are the tangible things, like your clothes, your food, your phone.
And services are the things people do for you.
Like going to the doctor or getting your car fixed.
It kind of makes you wonder if maybe we're so focused on all these things that we forget about what really matters.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? Are all these goods and services really making us happier?
And then, of course, there's the whole issue of actually sticking to those New Year's resolutions.
Ah, yes, the classic February fade out.
We all know it well. But then there's this suggestion to resolve to stick to your goals.
Which is kind of a funny idea.
I know, like promising to keep a promise.
But it really captures that struggle we all have.
Between wanting to change and actually, changing.
And the conversation even mentions a gym bag, gathering dust, and some brand new running shoes that haven't seen the light of day.
Oh, man, that's way too relatable.
The perfect image of good intentions gone astray.
All right. So the source also gives us a language takeaway, which is always helpful.
Yeah, breaking down the specific words and phrases.
So a New Year's resolution is basically anything you want to do or change as a kind of fresh start.
Makes sense.
And to resolve to do something is to basically make a promise to yourself.
Like a self-contract.
Exactly. And then they reiterate those definitions for goods and services just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Never hurts to clarify.
And then they talk about the verb to resolve, which means to decide or promise.
Right. So you resolve to do something.
Which is different from the noun resolution, which is more about the outcome.
Like my resolution is to exercise more.
Exactly. And finally, they explain brand new, which is something that's completely fresh and unused.
Like those running shoes.
Right. It's a term that's often used in marketing to make things sound more appealing.
Which makes sense. Everyone loves that new car smell.
Speaking of marketing, let's move on to the fluency builder.
Okay, what do we got?
The first phrase is on the go, which, as we've discussed, basically means constantly moving.
Like eating lunch while walking to a meeting.
Exactly. And that ties into the later point about American culture being so fast-paced.
Always rushing, always doing.
Then there's to stick to something, which means to continue doing it without giving up.
As in sticking to your New Year's resolutions.
Which is easier said than done, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And then we have gathering dust, which is a more visual way to say that something isn't being used.
Like that gym bag in the corner.
Sadly, yes.
But it's such a great phrase. It really paints a picture.
It does. So the source also mentions this anecdote about eating on the go in America.
It's like a national pastime.
Right. Like it's not even a choice. It's just how we live.
Which might seem strange to people from other cultures.
For sure. In some places, meal times are much more structured and social.
It's about taking the time to savor your food and connect with the people you're with.
But even in the U.S., there's this growing movement towards having more family dinners.
Which is great.
Yeah. It's like we're realizing that those shared moments are really important.
Even in our busy on-the-go lives.
Now, the source briefly touches on Christmas traditions, mentioning decorations, trees, lights, those inflatable Santas.
Ah, yes. The annual battle of the inflatable decorations.
And the custom of driving around neighborhoods to look at everyone's lights.
It's like a community-wide competition.
There's even a reference to the movie National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
The ultimate Christmas decoration disaster.
Okay, let's shift gears completely and talk about nail salons.
From Christmas lights to perfectly polished nails.
The conversation introduces the nail salon as a place to get your nails professionally done.
As opposed to a hair salon where they do, well, hair.
Right. It's interesting how these specialized services have become so common.
It's part of that whole self-care trend.
The language takeaway for this topic is pretty extensive.
So we better buckle up.
First, we have manicure, which is the whole treatment for hands and nails,
Cutting, shaping, painting, the works.
as opposed to a pedicure, which is for your feet.
Of course,
Then there's nail polish, which is the special paint they use on your nails.
the source of endless color possibilities.
The person who does the manicure is called a manicurist.
Makes sense.
And they often work with your cuticles, which is the skin around the base of your nail.
Sometimes they trim those, sometimes they push them back.
And of course, they file your nails using a nail file to smooth and shape them.
It's amazing how many specific terms there are for all this.
The Fluency Builder gives us some more casual ways to talk about getting our nails done.
So how do we say it in everyday conversation?
Instead of saying to get a manicure, you can simply say to get my nails done.
Much more natural.
And they also mention to pamper oneself, which means to treat yourself to something nice.
Like getting a manicure or going to the spa.
Exactly. It's all about self-care.
Indulging a little.
And finally, we have coats of nail polish, which are the layers of paint they apply to your nails.
The more coats, the more intense the color.
All right, let's move on to our final topic. Hotel experiences.
Specifically, the joy of getting a complimentary upgrade.
The conversation focuses on that moment of surprise when you check in and they tell you you've been upgraded to a presidential suite.
Talk about a travel win.
The phrase, "I have a reservation under the name," is highlighted as the standard way to confirm your booking.
It's like the universal language of hotel check-ins.
Then we have mix-up, which is defined as a misunderstanding or confusion.
They give some pretty funny examples, like getting the wrong bags or even the wrong baby.
Those are definitely worst-case scenarios.
But luckily, mix-ups can sometimes work in your favor, like with a free upgrade.
And then there's the dreaded overbooked situation.
When a hotel or flight has more bookings than available space.
It's a nightmare for travelers.
Especially when you're tired and just want to get to your destination.
But that's where the complimentary upgrade comes in.
That magical moment when they offer you a better room or service for free.
Often as a way to apologize for overbooking.
It's a great way to turn a negative experience into a positive one.
The conversation also includes some personal anecdotes about getting upgraded.
Oh, I love a good upgrade story.
One person talks about getting upgraded to first class on a train in India.
Wow, that's impressive.
And another person was upgraded to business class on a flight from Shanghai to Qatar.
With a 5-course meal, no less.
It's amazing how these little upgrades can make such a big difference in your trip.
They can turn an ordinary journey into something truly memorable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's fascinating to see how much we can learn from everyday conversations.
About our culture, our values, our language.
We've gained a deeper understanding of New Year's resolutions, the fast-paced nature of American life, the intricacies of nail salon terminology, and the thrill of getting a hotel upgrade.
It's like a crash course in everyday life.
And our final thought for you today is this.
Okay, hit us with it.
Which of these everyday experiences, from setting goals to pampering ourselves to navigating the world of travel, do you think reveals the most about your own culture or background?
That's a great question.
Because sometimes the things we take for granted are the most fascinating to people from other places.
It's all about perspective.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
Bye, everyone.
See ya!